Well, we have a few founding members. Some of them still remain with Equal Education now, such as our Chair of Council, Yoliswa Dwane, and such as our Treasurer, Duran Isaacs. For me, I had always wanted to work for equal education. That was always in the back of my mind that, that is where I want to be. And so I'm fortunate enough to be here now. I think that EE demonstrates what you can achieve with evidence-based activism. And when people take the approach and take to heart that this is not someone else's problem, this is not someone else's community, all communities are ours. So I don't think you can talk about community without talking about the church. And churches and faith leaders, the role that they played in achieving a democratic South Africa even, has to be underscored. And so I don't think we can have struggle without church and without faith leaders. EE has involved faith leaders, in our own struggle for quality basic education for all. So at a very, very simple and basic level, when we talk about involving communities, that includes the church. So that goes to what can we do in a very hands-on kind of a way to help. And I mentioned this at the Stelli's winter school, was that we have at schools, and especially Cape Town schools, that are having a crisis in terms of safety and violence right now. You have these clusters, safety clusters, and you need community members to serve on those committees. And that is a very small way in which someone, from the church is able to get involved. Churches are obviously, and faith leaders are obviously a part of civil society. And so when, you make a call for a worthy campaign to be supported, that is another way for the church to be involved. I do think that we need to think of ways in which the church could be involved at a macro level, rather than a micro level with individual schools and individual projects. Not that that isn't important and not that that isn't appreciated, but we need to think of ways in which the church can be involved in a systemic manner, in uplifting the quality of education. And I look forward to what ideas you have on that and other theologians have on that.
That's awesome.
I think it's a matter, we often have roundtables and discussions with legal minds, with education academics and researchers, and I think it's a matter of us having representatives from different bodies, from different civil society organizations, getting around the table and saying, how can we help each other? Because we all have amazing networks. If we could bring them together and help each other in that way. So I think the first step is to get around the table and say, right, how can we help each other? How can we get involved, for the greater good? And I hope that, speaking at each other's conferences and events is one way that we can begin to forge those ties. I have so many hopes for my country. And I think education is at the heart of it. Like the General Secretary of EE, Tsepo Motsepe, has said, poverty does not begin when a graduate goes out and can't find a job. Poverty begins in grade 1, when you're receiving a poor quality education. So a quality education, is how we're going to defeat poverty and inequality. And that's why I really, I'm fortunate to really do work that I believe in and that I'm passionate about. And when you have children as your focus, it's so easy to remain focused and not to be distracted, because at the end of the day, you're here for children.